I've been making movies my entire life, and one time I made a feature in just 4 days. For the most part, I've been making horror movies. I made ALMA'S Secret in 2014. I was working at BET, Black Entertainment Television at the time, and I had money for the first time in my life. We were middle class growing up, and the first thing I did after high school graduation was get into school debt. And that school wouldn't last very long. I would drop out just 6 months later with a bill in my hand. I'd work at restaurants in Chicago making sketch videos with my friends until a unique opportunity came up. My brother's friend was moving from New York to LA and could get me his old job as the media manager at BET in New York. I said yes without hesitation. I left only a few weeks later. BET was a blast. I had some really fantastic coworkers who taught me a lot. About a year in, I decided to make my first feature horror film. This would originally be called Grandmother, but with the help of my friend Deirdre, the title changed to ALMA'S Secret, which sounded much catchier. I saved up about $4,000 to make this film. I hired 2 actors from a general casting my brother did a few months earlier. Sam, who was a wild card. I remember on the first night I met him, he came to my brother's apartment and drank and smoked until late at night. Then there was Alexandra, a model with a few short films under her belt, but nothing like this. I also worked with Maurice, an author and a fellow filmmaker.
I loved your mother. I love you. I always regarded you as my own.
I had worked shooting and editing his short films that were made to promote his movies, but actually ended up going wildly viral on YouTube. They're strange films about lust and history. This group and one other actor who was a bartender and a friend from the neighborhood would make up the movie. I had just bought a Ronin and we put our A7S Mark II on it to have lots of smooth floating shots. Ryan, my brother, would be the DP and we had a ghostly vision for the film. As far as pre-production would go, I was ill-prepared. There were scenes I had written that I cut because I didn't know how to accomplish them. Also, we shot the entire movie in just 4 days, which really isn't enough time. Day 1. We filmed in Ryan's apartment. This is where I was living at the time. Then I used a woman's apartment, one that I had filmed Maurice's movies in before. This was a beautiful location, but the time frame was limited each day, so it put an even greater squeeze on the timing of the film. I remember the first scene we ever shot. It was an argument between my main character Alma and her boyfriend. This would be improvised, as a lot of the inner workings of the scenes would be.
I don't see you for a while. And then you call me out of the blue and we have a great night and then you just don't want to talk about it and you're just going to go house it. And like what? I'm just supposed to accept it. That's it.
I felt pressure after calling cut, not knowing what to say to the actors for the next take. Eventually, I got my footing, but in general, still didn't know what I was doing. We would continue shooting scenes of the 2 actors in different parts of their relationship, flirting, arguing, going on walks. Day 2. Day 2, we filmed a great breakup scene in the alleyway. Less of a breakup and more of a breaking point in the relationship type scene. I was very inspired by Gaspar Noé, and in the editing you can see I use flashes of black in between some of the cuts. Gaspar does this in Enter the Void, which is an insane and wild movie. He uses that technique to portray eyes blinking, since some of the film is in this POV perspective. I used it rather casually, not with as much intention. It helped me string together different takes from the same scene, avoiding jump cuts. It was more utility for me rather than perspective. After 2 days, we had some good improvised scenes that I would use as flashbacks for the film. Day 3. On the 3rd day, I had Maurice come in. He lived in the building so he could be there easily. I had him walk around the house, listening to old tapes and iconically eating an orange. Then we shot this big showdown scene between him and Alexandra. This is the most classically shot and created scene. There was written dialogue, even if it was poor, it was there, and we covered it in a master shot and close-ups. The dialogue was my first draft as well, which is funny because I would never do that now. It took a long time to shoot and ate into the time we needed for other scenes. A few scenes actually got cut because of this. Day 4. On day 4, we had our friend Hadrian come. He has partial or maybe full blindness in one of his eyes. It looks really cool. So we made him a door-to-door religious man, if that's what you call it. I've always had this reoccurring theme in all things I make about strangers knocking on the door. In this case, his intentions were pure, but he makes remarks that send chills down Alma's spine. Finally, we filmed Alma completely going off the rails. She calls her troubled boyfriend over and proceeds to melt down, and then, spoiler alert, kill him. Then she does this iconic dance in the kitchen. I remember feeling rushed in that moment, but seeing the footage was so exciting. The edit. The cut of the film is about 60 minutes, which is a miracle for how fast the movie was made. I enjoy it. I think it's cool.
I know what you did. I know, he told me.
Who?
It's missing elements I wish I had been able to add, but there's a saying that goes like this. There's the film you write, the film you shoot, and the film you edit. Thanks for watching, and if you want to check out Alma's Secret, you can right here on this YouTube channel completely free. If you enjoyed this essay, please like and subscribe for more.